Patio room industry. Typically you have a 2-inch thick wall system. You can also get it available in a 3-inch thick wall system here. And this is a 4-inch thick wall system. You can get up to 6 inches wide, but typically it's either going to be a 4 or a 3-inch system. This 2-inch system shows exposed fasteners, tech screws, which pretty much holds the room together. This qualifies for more of a low-end quality product when you start seeing these screws all over the place. There is no separation in the aluminum. This is one solid piece of extrusion. This one here, 3-inch wall system, this dark area here is what's called a thermal break. It's thermally extruded. This is the sill that anchors to your concrete or your wood deck. It's thermally extruded here. Got a thermal break here. What this does, it stops the heat and cold transfer from coming inside and outside. So if it's cold outside, 0 degrees, and you've got the heat on inside, that cold stops here. That way you won't see condensation form on the walls like you will on this bottle of ice water I've got here. So you see where it condensates. This is a vinyl clad room. Here, you see the vinyl here, got the aluminum extrusion 4-inch here with no thermal break. So typically, companies who sell a vinyl clad room with no thermal breaks classifies this as a 4 seasons room. Although what happens is that the cold will find the aluminum on the inside here. It will transfer all the way through the inside. And if you've got the heat on, it will condensate in behind the vinyl. And you'll see here, it's got a weepage system. The water will collect down here, and it's supposed to find its way outside. Although typically what you'll see, a lot of times these get plugged up. You'll start to see mold and mildew form in behind the vinyl cladding, and then work its way up the wall. Sill design. Typically, in this lower end product here, you'll see again it has the weep holes where water gets out. Very, very flat going across here. So when this is anchored to the concrete, really it just pulls up inside here, and hopefully these weep holes will not plug up because you're going to have quite a dam. What you want to see usually is just, you'll see where it's raised towards the back as water doesn't run uphill very well. But this is a much better design. It's got a slope sill, again with the thermal break without allowing any heat and cold transfer. And again, the vinyl clad room has more of, again, a flat area still with the weep holes allowing the water out. But typically a better design, of course, would be to have a slope sill, not a flat area like this, more along this design here. Solid knee walls. In this industry, usually you're going to have a 2-foot high base wall under the windows. You have a lot of options as far as what type of product to use here. This lower end knee wall, 2-inch, has the old cardboard filling. It's supposed to be waterproof, but water resistant, but it's not really waterproof. 2-inch, got paneling here. Some of the options that you have would be aluminum. Aluminum skin showing here, it dents. It's a lower end product. Once you get a dent in here, you have to live with it. Don't usually recommend this. It is a cheaper price, but again, does not hold up over the years. Looks typically horribly after a couple of years. Then you have Masonite product. It's pressed wood here. This requires painting every 5 years. Got a stucco finish, although again, if you don't paint it every 5 years, as the manufacturer suggests, you voided the warranty. Another option, you have a stucco panel. This is a polymer material. You never have to paint this. It stays consistently the same color all the way through. So you've got, whether it be a 3-inch, 4-inch thick wall, or 2-inch, it's going to stay the same color. So if I take, say, a fork and scratch this, it does not scar it at all. So it takes quite a beating. Matter of fact, if we bury this polymer material with polyester for 10 years in your backyard and dig it up, it's going to look dirty, but it's going to stay pretty much the same. Then you also have a pebble finish, same polymer material, a little different texture, looks more like a sheetrock. Again, Fork to this, scratch it, it looks the same. Cannot do that with aluminum. You see the paint does come off, again, dense, not very good. This typically, these two materials here, cost a few dollars extra, but very dent, impact resistant, virtually indestructible, never have to paint it. Let's talk a little bit about glazing bars or rafter bars for sunrooms and solariums. A lot of companies are very limited to how far they can span out on a room, how far from your home. Really important, especially if you're going to get a permit, which we always recommend, to have a bar, a material that's thick this way in width, determines a lot on spans and engineering and snow loads, especially if you live along the East Coast or the northern climates, as far as getting that snow load that's required in order to get a permit. You'll see some of them aren't quite as tall here as others. Of course, this would be okay for southern climates where you don't have a lot of snow. And of course, we also have another bar here, again showing the thickness of the material is a little bit thinner in the sidewalls of this one versus this one here. A lot of people are thinking that in a sunroom with a glass roof, they leak. We've improved our gasket system a lot. This is a multi-fin gasket system. There's 3 locations, similar to like your wiper blades on a car, that will stop the water. It's really important when this is installed not to rely on any caulking to seal these. Normally this would be a piece of glass. Being so small, we put a piece of wood in here instead just to simulate the glass, but this is the only place on this multi-fin gasket system that is exposed to the sun. So if for whatever reason 5-10 years down the road this gets baked out, you have 2 other locations back underneath here that's not exposed to the sun. We can now give you a lifetime warranty on our new multi-fin gasket system versus the old technology where caulking would be required to seal in the glass on these rafter bars. Okay, this is a 4-inch thick wall system. Again, it's got the polystyrene, which is most popular for insulating R value. Has the vinyl cladding. You'll see vinyl on the exterior over the aluminum. All rooms basically have aluminum frames. They have to give you support that you need. Vinyl cladding is nice, is limited colors, although without the thermal break, as I was showing you before, without the thermal break in the system, you're not going to get that separation that we were talking about. So it's a little bit more money, but if you're going to go vinyl, I would recommend our vinyl cladding system, but have the thermal breaks in the aluminum substructure framing. It's a little bit more money, but that's the only way you're going to get a true 4 seasons room. You're not supposed to heat and cool anything in aluminum, whether it's cladding over it or not, that does not have thermal breaks. What happens is you're going to get condensation behind the vinyl. Frame room. This is the one that has exposed fasteners, tech screws. On the bottom you'll see them here and usually up the side of the wall once it's installed and across the top. A lot less money to do it this way. Again, 2 inches thick. The sill you'll see here that attaches to your concrete or your wood deck. It's got a flat design, and sooner or later, you know, water is going to pool up in here. It's supposed to find its way outside to these little weep holes, although sometimes these can get plugged and water can collect back under here. You can't beat the price of this room, but you expect it to be in your home any length of time. Don't usually recommend this product, although we do offer, as I said, a good, better, and best. And so this is the lower end way to go. Still do the polystyrene, solid knee wall, or glass clear to the bottom with this. Cardboard, I don't deal with any manufacturers that offer cardboard in the solid knee wall and sometimes in the roof, because it get a little bit of water in there, it's definitely going to rot. It's not going to hold up.
I recommend staying away from any manufacturer that offers cardboard in the inside as a solid knee wall or in your roof option. This is an aluminum room. You'll see here no exposed fasteners at all. Still solid knee wall. We cut off this section here to show you this aluminum room's got 100% thermal extrusion. So the corner you'll see here, got the thermal break here, thermal break and the extrusions in between the windows, thermal break in the sill here. This design is a little bit better. The sill sloped differently where the water will not run uphill. So it's much better design. A little bit more money in doing that, but definitely a better room, especially if it's 100% thermally extruded as far as any condensating. So I recommend this definitely if you're going to heat and cool it. Even in our vinyl rooms, without the thermal break, 100% thermal extrusions, it's going to condensate sooner or later. Our vinyl room, again, you got the option of the thermal extrusion or not. More of a 3 seasons room. Again, it's got a little bit of a slope to it. The sill here could have been a little bit better design on this particular one, but we do offer several manufacturers on our vinyl product. We have people asking us what is a thermal break and is it very important? A thermal break is a very rigid, low thermal conductive polyurethane which is mechanically locked in between the 2 pieces of metal, which is 1,000 times less conductive than the aluminum that it's separating. And it's basically essential when doing a true 4 seasons room. This is an electrical outlet that's an aluminum extrusion, aluminum here, aluminum on the inside, aluminum on the exterior, aluminum on the inside where the outlet is. And without that thermal break here, you're going to get the cold and heat transfer through to the room. This is our vinyl option, and you got electrical outlet here, got the aluminum substructure as we talked about earlier, with no thermal break. Now, we offer this as no thermal extrusion or with it. So I know companies that do not offer this thermal break here, especially in the aluminum, it's not a true 4 seasons room. And putting the vinyl covering up, or cladding it's called in the industry, does not make a bit of difference. If it's cold outside, it's going to condensate and sweat without the thermal break here. And you know, they'll demonstrate by putting this aluminum on a piece of ice or dry ice, or in this case a block of ice, and then doing and they will demonstrate that it's not going to condensate because the vinyl stops the cold from getting to the metal. But if it is actually cold outside, believe me, it's going to get to in behind the vinyl here, and it's going to get to the aluminum. Of course, right now it's not touching the aluminum because of the vinyl, but it's more or less is very misleading, I do believe, because these are done, demonstrations are done in a controlled room temperature room of 72 plus. So granted, the ice is not touching the aluminum, it's touching the vinyl, so it's not getting all the way through to the aluminum. But in cold climates, or even where it's hot, if it's the same thing, if it's hot outside and it's going to touch the aluminum, of course, it's going to get to it, and it comes in and hits, you've got the room cooled on the inside, it's going to sweat and condensate behind the vinyl. So I find it very misleading when they demonstrate in a controlled room the ice not touching the aluminum, but the vinyl, so you're not getting that transfer in between the two. But it's not a true 4 seasons room if it does not have the thermal break. So as an option, we do have it without. It's a little less money to manufacture this aluminum without the mechanically inserted polyurethane bars, but you're not going to get any cold transfer at all. It's going to stop right here. So don't be fooled that aluminum rooms with thermal breaks are not a true Four Seasons room, because we do both. We have aluminum rooms that have no thermal breaks. Of course, we have rooms that are 100% thermally extruded, and it's not going to get past that bar right there. Whereas again, a vinyl room with no thermal breaks in the substructure, you have to have the aluminum to get your snow load and wind loads, but that cold will get in behind this vinyl. Of course, it's just gonna, and it's gonna make everything cold. Therefore, it doesn't stop here. It's gonna transfer all the way through, and that's where you'll end up seeing mold and mildew is on the inside here. Usually, it starts at the floor area at the bottom and work its way up the track. But do not recommend heating and cooling a room that does not have thermal breaks in the aluminum. Just as an example, this is a glass of ice water. Of course, it's cold on the inside versus the outside room temperature, and that is why it is condensating, it's sweating. And that's what typically happens in a room that's non-thermally extruded, whether it be a vinyl room or an aluminum room. Condensation is not good. Mold and mildew is toxic, especially the young children or older people that have allergies or no allergies. It's just really susceptible to younger people. So if you don't want condensation such as this glass of ice water, I highly recommend doing a room that's thermally extruded, vinyl or aluminum, if you're going to heat it or cool it. Either way. Other than that, just use it as a 3 Seasons room and you're fine.
You've got 3 types of wall material that's available in a sunroom or patio room, conservatory. Aluminum is probably the most popular, comes in many different colors. You've got white, this is a tan, also comes in a bronze color as well, very popular color. Vinyl is another material that's used quite a lot. Colors are kind of limited to white and probably a tan or almond color. Those are your options for the vinyl. And then, of course, wood is also used for the framing of the walls and the roof. Very popular, very warmth feeling, especially if you're going to open up the house wall to the kitchen or dining room. Wood is very popular. This is a mahogany product. This is more of a pine. And you can also get it in an oak finish material as well.